OpenAI has just released a bunch of major announcements. They had a big live streaming event today, which is important for a number of reasons, and they announced a bunch of new features and functionality that ChatGPT is going to be getting. I'll be breaking all of those down in the podcast today. Let's get into it. So the first thing that they demoed, which I thought was really exciting, was what they're calling GPT 4.0. And essentially what this is, very similar to ChatGPT 4, except they're making this free for everyone. So what's really cool is no longer are you essentially like paywalled. You got to pay $20 a month in order to use GPT-4. This is GPT-4. It's 2 times faster than what currently is GPT-4 Turbo. So this thing is insanely fast. It's 50% cheaper to run when it's embedded into the API. So like if you're a developer embedding this, it's way cheaper, which is really exciting. It has a 5x higher rate limit, meaning you can ask it 5 times as many questions as you could before. That's all compared to GPT-4 Turbo. So this thing is better, it's free, it's embedded into the API. This is a huge announcement that I think a lot of people are really excited for. Now, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, is GPT-5 coming? And the answer is no, this isn't GPT-5. I think they want to kind of roll out some of these minor updates. So when they do something like a big GPT-5 or a big product reveal, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, this is groundbreaking, and it's separate from some of these other updates. They have a couple updates here that also are amazing. They did a demo where essentially they got the new GPT 4.0 to tell a story to someone, and they showed off the capability it has to essentially is really robust voice now. Now I think is putting some serious pressure on 11 Labs and all the other players in this space that are doing audio, because they have a new voice model where you can essentially text prompt it or voice prompt it, because you can talk with this thing live now. So you can talk with it and you could be like, hey, tell me a story, and make it like in a really happy tone. And so then it's like this person that's like, I'm super happy. And they tell you the story and you're like, no, like even happier. And then it's like, I'm super happy. It's like even happier. Or they had it where it was like, they kept saying like even more dramatic, and it was like the dragon came and it did this crazy thing, and they kept saying like more dramatic, and so it got really funny. And then at the end they were like, okay, now like for the last, to close out the story, like sing the last part, and it like starts like kind of like singing the last part. Okay, so it's insane. This is not a typical AI voice generator that was trained on a specific voice, and then it or like you do a voice clone of yourself and then it can do it. It's like very versatile. You can get it to do any sorts of tones, and you can talk with it and like live tell it to do. It's not like a setting a drop down that's like more whimsical or more serious. Like you're talking to it and telling it how you would like it to speak, and it's able to copy that tone. It's amazing. It's a really, really incredible functionality. So I think that's huge. They showed off a couple interesting demos of like great use cases, because they also embedded into that have multi-language. So for example, you can go and say like, hey, I speak English. My buddy here speaks French. I don't speak French. He doesn't speak English. We were trying to communicate. Can you help us? And it's like, yeah, sure. And you can talk in your language, and it will immediately say to them what you're saying, and then they respond. And so it's like a translator that sits between you, but it's like live translating very quickly. Okay, this is something I say. People are like, AI won't replace your job. Someone using AI will replace your job. In this case, this functionality just killed the entire human translator industry. And I'm not being dramatic. I'm not joking. And I know human translators will be upset by that. They'll say, no, there's still a reason for a personal touch. But like in all reality, my phone now is my translator. It's translating live. And I'm sure eventually, because I've seen other softwares teasing or doing it, it will clone your voice. And so it'll be your voice speaking back, your voices speaking back and forth to each other in your languages. It's way better than a translator. Your words aren't using them as an intermediary. It's amazing. So all human translators, I think that industry is gone. I literally think anyone doing that's gone. I have friends that go to their dad goes to China like all the time, and like is a translator and stuff. I don't see that industry existing anymore. Anyways, very interesting functionality. They showed a couple other really interesting things. Okay, the other huge update they announced is multimodal video features embedded into ChatGPT. So up until now, you've taken your phone, you've taken a picture of something, or you have it on your computer, you upload it to ChatGPT, and you're like, hey, like this is a picture of my website. How could I optimize this for click-through rates? Or hey, this is a picture of a chart. How what are the important elements that they're analyzing in this chart? Or you're like, hey, this is my math homework. How do I solve this problem? Or how do I get to the next step of it? I've gotten this far. What's the next thing I need to do? Right? So that's how it's worked. Now it's a video feed, which is so much better. You're not taking a picture and uploading it. You're literally underneath of your car, pointing it up at your car. You're like, hey, I'm trying to fix my car, change my oil. What bolt under here am I supposed to be looking for to loosen to change my oil? Or what am I supposed to be doing to fix this, element of my bicycle, whatever, right? You're showing a live video, and they did a demo. What was really cool here was they were live demoing a lot of this stuff, which is a huge departure from what happened when Google did their reveal for their multimodal GPT or their multimodal Gemini, which we found out was fake afterwards. They had selectively edited 10 hours of usage of their tool, and they had not given the context of what they'd actually said to the model when it gave a result, and they made it look like it was all just one fluid demo of it talking, and everyone said this was amazing. Okay, so OpenAI actually just achieved what Google demoed many months ago that turned out to be fake, except OpenAI did it live on stage in front of everyone. They sent out a thing on X and said, hey, we want recommendations of what to demo on our new model. What do you guys want to see? And people were responding with what they want to see, and they were pulling things that people on X were recommending and doing them live. So the magic, the magician was on stage live, pulling things from the audience. This was real. This is not what Google was doing. So I think this is a really big thing to point out here. Really exciting. With this video one, they did a couple demos. One where they were solving a math problem. So it's you can imagine a math tutor. This is a whole nother level. They're pointing their phone at the equation on the paper, and they're like, hey, I'm trying to solve this problem. Can you help me? And they're like, yeah, what do you think you should do? And they're like, I don't know. What do I need to do? And they're like, okay, well, this is a linear algebra equation. You need to start by focusing on this and that. What do you think you should do next? And it worked like a tutor. It didn't just blurt out an answer or something. It was you need to do this step. And then he did that. And then it's what do you think you should do? And anyways, there's a conversation. And I'm sure you could say, I don't want you to help me solve it. Just tell me what the answer is. And I'm sure it could also do that. But it was really impressive because as he was writing down on the paper, steps, it was great. Now the next step is you need to, subtract 1 from each side or whatever, right? So it was live tutoring him through this process. This is so much better than taking pictures and uploading them. It's video, it's live, it's instantaneous, it sees what you're doing. This is a huge update in my opinion. So that was really exciting. And then I think that one of the last things that they were demoing was someone on X tweeted and was do a video with it and see if it can tell you what your facial expression is. So he pointed the camera at himself and was smiling, and it was yeah, you're happy, whatever. I mean, you could have done that with a picture, but it's kind of cool that it was a video and it could be seen a little bit more. It honestly made me think of right now a big thing that I've heard people doing startups around is sentiment analysis. And there's all these companies that are reviewing documents and reviewing different things for sentiment analysis to make different predictions on things. Customer support is a big area. They read through all your customer support messages, and then they're overall, your customer sentiment is negative on all your customer support, or it's 10 points negative, or, oh, this month it went up 5 points. You're doing better, whatever changes you're doing, right? So you can see these sentiment analysis tools are kind of useful. Now people are going to be able to do them via video feed. So if you got a security camera in your place, technically this could be running into ChatGPT, and it's the customers in your store at your customer service, help center or your return center at Home Depot or Walmart are angry or happy, and they're 10% happier this month than they were last month because you made this change or that change. So the sentiment analysis is no longer just messages, but it's looking at people's facial expressions and their body language and all that kind of stuff. And it's going to be able to pull all of that out, which is so fascinating. There's so many, people are saying oh man, they just killed so many startups. I think especially with their translation one, because there's tons of startups that were doing that. I don't think that it's there's so many new startups that are now able to come out of these new functionalities that they have baked in. So really exciting, a ton of new stuff. They said over the next few months, they'll be rolling out all of these features into ChatGPT. So you're going to be able to use them. They're not all instantly available today. Huge updates. I'll keep you up to date on anything else that they release. In the meantime, thanks so much for tuning into the podcast. If you enjoyed the episode, I would really, really appreciate it. We're getting fast turnaround. This thing just came up 30 minutes ago. We're trying to get fast turnaround for you. If you enjoy this and the fast turnaround, I really appreciate it. If you could leave me a review or subscribe, like the video, wherever you get this video, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever. And I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day.